Hello everyone, today we're going to discuss what is a fuel surcharge and how it relates to contract market. So many aspiring brokers get confused by a concept of fuel surcharge. What is it and how should it be used? Before we get into details of a fuel surcharge, you first need to understand concepts of the spot market and contract market. And to do that, I am going to include a portion of the lesson from our course where we discuss spot market versus contract market, and then we also talk about fuel surcharge and provide some examples. So let's watch the video and then discuss it afterwards.
Spot market versus contract market and fuel surcharge. In order to understand the difference between contract freight and spot freight, let's take a look at the following example. The term contract freight is used when a freight broker secures a dedicated lane for multiple shipments from their client. For example, a utility vehicle manufacturer sends one shipment a day to a distribution center. They want to secure a reliable carrier who would pick up a shipment at their location every day, and they want to do so at the most affordable rate. Basically, they can guarantee the business in return for a favorable shipment rate. In most cases, they will invite brokers to bid on this lane and select the most attractive option. The benefit to the shipper, in our case the utility vehicle manufacturer, is that they will have a security of their shipments going out every day and that it will be done at a predetermined rate, regardless of the freight market fluctuations. The motor carrier will also benefit from working at a predetermined rate and will also enjoy the stability of having secured work every day for a certain period of time. The freight broker will benefit from the standpoint of regular business as well. In most cases, such contracts are being signed between large shippers who have regular freight and larger brokers or carriers who can provide enough capacity to service those regular shipments. But what can a smaller shipper do? Let's assume there's a small scrap metal yard which ships a load of scrap metal to a recycling plant. However, they only ship when they have collected enough metal. Therefore, they cannot guarantee neither the number of shipments nor the days when cargo needs to be shipped. And with so much uncertainty, it would be hard for them to sign a contract with a broker or a transportation company. The solution for them is to go to the so-called spot market. More likely, they will go to a freight broker and get an estimate or a rate quote for the cost to ship their cargo from point A to point B. Then the broker will post this load on the load boards as soon as the shipment becomes available and work on finding a motor carrier who will transport the load of metal for their client. So let's summarize. When we're talking about spot market freight, we're talking about a single, non-regular shipment. When we're talking about contract freight, we are talking about multiple loads shipped on a consistent basis. And in regard to contract freight, we need to mention one more important term you will often hear: fuel surcharge. A fuel surcharge is an extra fee charged by trucking companies or third parties to cover the fluctuating cost of fuel. It is calculated as a percentage of the base rate and is usually added to the shipper's freight bill to cover the cost of operations. Now let's imagine our utility vehicle manufacturer is looking to sign a contract to ship 4 loads per week for the duration of 12 months. You find a carrier willing to accept this work for $1.80 per mile. With a fuel price of, for example, $2.50 and the average consumption of 5 miles to a gallon, the fuel cost per mile is 50 cents. Therefore, the net rate is $1.80 minus 50 cents, so it's $1.30. Let's say this rate is acceptable for the motor carrier now, but what if the price of fuel goes up to $4 per gallon in the next few months. Now, with the average consumption of 5 miles to a gallon, the fuel cost per mile is now 80 cents. Therefore, the net rate is going to go down to $1. At this rate, the motor carrier will not generate enough profit since they've established 130 as the minimum acceptable rate when they were bidding on this contract. This is where fuel surcharge can be helpful. Instead of offering to transport shippers' cargo for $180 per mile during the next 12 months, the offer can be made as $130 base rate plus fuel surcharge. Fuel surcharge is determined based on the average fuel prices in the country. So as prices increase, so does the fuel surcharge. When fuel prices fall, the fuel surcharge declines as well. So as you can see, fuel surcharge is a useful tool for long-term contracts and is pretty much irrelevant for spot market loads. As a broker, you will be bidding on both spot market and contract market freight. When it comes to spot market, you will probably be quoting just as a flat rate for any given lane. However, when it comes to contract freight, quoting a flat rate might be risky. Therefore, you may want to consider fuel surcharge as part of your quoting strategy. In the next lesson, we shall discuss how to provide quotes to your client.
Okay guys, so now I hope you have a better understanding of what fuel surcharge is. Now, I have to point out that when most freight broker, when they just start doing business, they're mostly concentrating on the spot market, okay? And with spot market, fuel surcharge is pretty much irrelevant and you don't have to worry about it. However, as your business will develop and you will be trying to get those contracts because they are a repeat business and therefore it's a constant revenue for you, fuel surcharge will come into play, and it is important that you understand what it is. If you have more questions on this subject, you can post it in the comments below. And with all that being said, we are going to wrap up this video and I will see you next time.